Hey, Team World Vision Washington family. I know the miles are getting longer. We're a few weeks into Lent now. The race is getting closer. And so I just hope that you're encouraged. I hope that you're always focused on your why, focused on why we move our feet for ourselves for life change, and obviously to change the lives of vulnerable children in our world, to end that water walk for the women and children who are daily, hour and a half, almost 4 miles, sometimes multiple times a day, walking for dirty water that could kill them. So remember your why, be encouraged as the miles get longer. I want to share a story out of Luke chapter 8 for you. Luke 8, starting in verse 26. So they arrived in the region of the Gerasenes across the lake from Galilee. So this is the setting, right? They get on a boat and they go across the Sea of Galilee to a non-Jewish region, the region of the Gerasenes across the lake. And as Jesus is climbing out of the boat, a man who is possessed by demons came out to meet him. For a long time, he had been homeless and naked, living in a cemetery outside the town. Talking about Jesus interacting with people who are on the margins, who are oppressed, who are on the outside of their community. This guy is living in the cemetery outside of town because he's out of control. He cannot be controlled. It gets even worse. So as soon as he saw Jesus, he shrieked and fell down in front of him. He screamed, "Why are you interfering with me, Jesus, Son of the Most High God? Please, I beg you, don't torture me." For Jesus had already commanded the evil spirit to come out of him. This spirit had often taken control of the man. Even when he was placed under guard, put in chains and shackles, he simply broke them and rushed out into the wilderness completely under the demon's power. This guy, he's just on the margins, and people tried to control it by putting him in chains and shackles, and he cannot be controlled. And so nobody knows what to do with this man. Jesus demanded, verse 30, "What is your name?" "Legion," he replied, for he was filled with many demons. The demons kept begging Jesus not to send them into the bottomless pit. There happened to be a large herd of pigs feeding on the hillside nearby. The demons begged him to let him enter the pigs. Strange story. Stay with me. So Jesus gave them permission. The demons came out of the man and entered the pigs, and the entire herd plunged down the steep hillside into the lake and drowned. When the herdsmen saw it, they fled to the nearby town and the surrounding countryside, spreading the news as they ran. People rushed out to see what had happened. A crowd soon gathered around Jesus, and they saw the man who had been freed from the demons. He was sitting at Jesus' feet. This is the piece to hang on to. He is sitting at Jesus' feet, fully clothed, remember, naked, in the cemetery, chained up. And now, he's sitting at Jesus' feet, fully clothed, perfectly sane, and they were all afraid. That is an interesting statement there. Now that he has gone perfectly sane, he's gotten his life together, he's clothed, now they are afraid. Then those who had seen what happened told the others how the demon-possessed man had been healed, and all the people in the region of the Gerasenes begged Jesus to go away and leave them alone, for a great wave of fear swept over them. There's something interesting that happens when people's lives are changed. When people's lives are changed, and we don't know, we knew them as something. That's that crazy demon-possessed man who's in the cemetery. Whoa, don't go near that guy. But when life change happens, and when Jesus changes a life, sometimes people get afraid. Sometimes people get afraid. When Jesus disrupts our lives and starts to take us in a new direction, sometimes it is scary. And sometimes friends and family and people around us say, "What is going on?" It's possible that when you signed up to run a marathon, a half marathon, to move your feet, people said, "Whoa, whoa, 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 whoa. That's not like you. Why are you doing this?" But you said yes to doing a scary thing, a hard thing. And you're doing it for a huge cause to change lives around the world. As I just conclude, I want you to just sit with this idea of the hard things that maybe Jesus has called you to do, has invited you into. Maybe those scary things, or the life change moments, the moments in your own life where you have been changed and you've experienced change and it's disrupted relationships and people have looked at you differently. Or maybe you can think of somebody that you've kind of held at arm's length and you haven't been sure like how to enter into that relationship. And part of what scares you is there's some change happening in their life. And I knew them as this and now they're changing to that. It's very interesting. Jesus is disruptive. He changes our lives. When he comes into our lives, he brings change. He brings change. And sometimes when that happens, people are afraid and they don't know what to do with it. They don't know what to do with it. I've given you plenty to reflect on this story. Maybe go back, read it for yourself. Find yourself in the story. Are you those townspeople that are going, whoa, 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 I can't handle this? Are you an onlooker just going like, this is an interesting scene? What do you think the disciples were doing, by the way? They're silent in this story. What are the disciples doing in this story? Just put yourself in the story, reflect, and listen to what God has for you. Grace and peace, friends.